Have you ever seen a yard that tells a story? For 72-year-old Mrs. Harper, her yard was a living memory of her late husband. For nearly 40 years, they had lived in their home, and he had planted every single tree with his own hands. But now, alone and facing health challenges, Mrs. Harper couldn't keep up. The grass grew waist-high, a sea of green swallowing the memories. To make matters worse, invasive vines from a neighbor's property were creeping over, choking her trees and taking over her land. The city had sent warnings, adding to her stress, but what could she do? That's when her community decided to step in. A group of kind-hearted neighbors arrived one sunny morning, armed with lawnmowers, trimmers, and a determination to help. They weren't just there to cut grass. They were there to restore a piece of Mrs. Harper's peace. But just as they started making progress, the neighbor whose vines had caused the problem stormed over. He was aggressive, confrontational, trying to intimidate the volunteers and stop them from helping. He shouted, trying to assert control, creating a tense and unsettling scene. For a moment, the volunteers were shaken. It's easy to back down when faced with such hostility. But then they looked at Mrs. Harper, watching from her window, and they remembered why they were there. This wasn't just about a yard anymore. It was about standing up for a vulnerable member of their community. It was about choosing kindness over conflict and unity over bullying. So, they made a choice. Instead of engaging with the anger, they stood their ground, respectfully but firmly. They were there for Mrs. Harper, and they weren't going to be scared away. With renewed purpose, the team got back to work. The sound of lawnmowers and weed whackers filled the air, a symphony of community action. They moved with coordinated effort, a well-oiled machine driven by compassion. They trimmed back the overgrown grass, revealing the beautiful yard that lay dormant underneath. They painstakingly pulled and cut away the thick, stubborn vines, freeing the trees and reclaiming the property line. They cleared the walkway to her front door and uncovered her mailbox, which had been almost completely hidden. As the hours passed, a stunning transformation took place. What was once a source of stress and shame for Mrs. Harper became a beautiful, manicured space once again. The sunlight streamed through the newly pruned trees, and the clean lines of the lawn brought a sense of order and calm. But this was so much more than just yard work. Every blade of grass cut, every vine removed, was an act of defiance. It was a clear message that bullying and intimidation have no place in their neighborhood. It was about reclaiming dignity and peace for a neighbor who deserved to live her golden years without fear or anxiety. Watching the final result, you could see the weight lift from Mrs. Harper's shoulders. Her yard was no longer a burden, but a beautiful tribute to her husband, maintained by the love of her community. This story is a powerful reminder that we all have the ability to make a difference. When we see injustice or a neighbor in need, we have a choice. We can turn away, or we can stand together. These neighbors chose to unite, and in doing so, they didn't just clean up a yard, they strengthened the very fabric of their community. So let's take a lesson from this incredible group of people. Let's be the kind of neighbors who show up. Let's stand up against bullying in all its forms and create communities where everyone feels safe, supported, and valued. The world needs more of that. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please give it a like and subscribe to Story by Caring Guy for more content that celebrates the power of community. See you next time.